Yes, welcome back to the ESOC conversation on several topics surrounding MicroVention. And now our final guest is the local guest, Dr. Birk Behrens from the Technical University of Munich. Tobias, the subject is the straight study with the Bobby. So can you start explaining what the Bobby is?
Of course. First of all, thank you very much for the introduction. And yes, this is my home base here in Munich, and I'm very happy to be here. So this straight study is to evaluate the Bobby, and the Bobby is, in my opinion, a new generation balloon guider. So we had several generations before, and now I think we could say it is the third one.
Okay. And yeah, what can we expect? So I personally haven't used it, unfortunately, but yeah, what can we expect? What's the difference of the third generation against, let's say, the old cellos and so on?
I think we all know that there are a lot of reservations in the neurointerventional community using a balloon guider. And the reasons for that were based on the difficulties that we all had by using the older generations. So they were quite stiff, and the second one was a little bit too floppy. And I think that was one of the main reasons that it really did not reach that the majority of neurointerventionists really used these kind of guiding catheters, although the data that which shows that the approach works, they are quite good.
Absolutely. There are, whenever there is any comparison between balloon guide use, yes and no, there is a difference. We even found in our own small study on high resolution DWI, very, very few hits if balloon guides were used, and it was a study of 30 patients or something. It was highly significant. So there's something to balloon guide catheters, but we most of us still don't like it, as you said, and because we are under time pressure.
Exactly.
Do we have to use this thing? So, and this comes to preparation.
Yeah, that's one thing. You have to change your established practice. So you have to add another step, and one of them is the preparation, which is a little bit different by using the Bobby. It's more like these double balloons, like the scepter.
Yeah.
So where you have an antigrad flush of contrast media. I think you really get used to it quite fast.
Do you do it yourself, or your assistant, or the nurse, or?
I do it myself. Yes.
Because,
at the beginning,
because of what? Because it's difficult.
No, it's not difficult. You just have to have a little bit of routine in it, because if you are too fast, then you can blow up the balloon, or if it's too slow, you do not really see if it works. But actually, you only have to do it maybe 2 or 3 times, then you're safe with it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, and I think, again, all the data we have show superiority of balloon guide catheters. And now you come with this study, which is great because we need prospective data. And what's the purpose of this study? It's just for approving something, or do you want to collect other data as well?
Well, I think it addresses different aspects. So these are the primary endpoint is a technical one. So the first aspect is that we want to show that using a balloon guider as a standard approach is working in nearly all of the cases. And then we tried to be as close to the historical cohorts as possible regarding the inclusion. Regarding the inclusion criteria, so that we have at least an idea how good are we by using this kind of approach? Of course, it's a single arm study, so we are limited.
I think one critical question would be, when do you enroll the patient? Whenever the bobby is up or before?
Well, no, we
because then you have 100% success rate. If this is your inclusion criteria.
So no, it's not. If you use the bobby, because we had also limited access to the bobby at the beginning, we really tried to only use the bobby if we at least try to include it in the study. Sometimes there were some exclusion criteria like age or something like that that excluded.
Can we have a look at the inclusion-exclusion criteria?
These are more or less the classical inclusion criteria. It's similar to the.
And the other technique, does it? You can use any thrombectomy device or aspiration only possible.
Yes, you are not restricted to any technical approach. So we usually use as first line a combined approach with a Sophia and a stent retriever, but actually we switched a little bit. So we more and more use or try also direct aspiration. Because one of the largest advantages of the bobby is that it's compatible with the large Sophia.
Yeah, but this is what we were asking for many years, to have something 6F Sophia compatible, and finally it's there. So
yes, and this really changes a lot, I think, and also it will lead more to the approach that you might try the first step, the aspiration.
I get it. And who is participating in the study?
Yeah, we have actually 9 sites. These are the enrolling sites, 6 of them in Germany, 3 of them in Switzerland, and our enrollments until today this is not true anymore, so we have 125 until now. Planned are 270. Okay, cool. But maybe the data, we'll have an interim analysis quite soon, and if the data are clear enough, maybe we will stop, and this is not decided yet. Yeah, so we mentioned briefly in the slide before, we go back and forth a little, sorry about that. The primary endpoint is TK2B rate. Is this the best endpoint to show the benefit of the bobby, or? Yeah, we had to decide if we use a clinical endpoint or a technical endpoint. And I think actually it is a technical aspect of a complex procedure. Yes. So you always have different aspects going inside these endpoints, so you have to decide for one side or the other. And we decided to take this one because I think it's the best. At least the technical aspects are better represented if you use a technical endpoint, and the clinical ones follow later on. And do you also gather data on distal emboli and? Of course, we have a lot of secondary endpoints, and there are embolizations to new territories, infarctions to new territories, and also one very important one, which also is for better showing how the mechanical properties of the device is the placement, because we know that the better you can achieve a placement quite distally, the better or the higher will be the success rate. And this is also what we saw. Yeah, you saw already something? Yes, we have. I need to learn more. Yeah. Yes, we have the preliminary data of our first 81 included patients that have been core lab controlled. So you have to keep in mind this is preliminary data, but we saw a quite high rate of successful recanalization. with a 96%, which is quite good.
And this is at end of the procedure, right? It's
Yes.
not first
No,
pass.
it's not first pass.
Okay.
It's end of the procedure. The first pass I do not have actually yet. There are several other endpoints, the rate of ENT and all of these.
Yeah, of
smaller
course,
ones.
it's not finished. I understand. And
So
I
this
see.
is actually the main endpoint, and the other one I mentioned before is where could we place this kind of catheter? Is this analysis? So we could achieve a quite good placement of the bobby in the ICA and relevant proportion also in the distal parts of the.
And is there a point in the protocol where you say you have to go as distally as possible? Or is this just where the operator thinks that this is the optimal place?
We leave it to up to the interventionalist. Of course, the goal is to place it at the skull base. This is defined in the instructions. But of course, you always have to adjust to the anatomical situations and you see. Actually, this is one of the examples that I can show you. Here you see these are the difficulties that we have to deal with if we use a guiding catheter, and in the first and second generations, it was nearly not possible to do these kind of
because it's just the kinking.
Yes.
Yeah. So of the catheter as such,
Yes.
if you are not able to straighten the vessel,
Yes, and I think with the third generation devices, this becomes more and more possible, and so you do not have to think about a direct puncture anymore. And you have the additional.
And is this a patient from the study?
This is a patient from the study.
Okay.
Yes. And
Cool.
then we also have here. This is this patient actually, where you already see how it's straightened up, and then where we try it now. I think the video runs. So where you see that we can place it nearly at the skull base. So this was the goal.
Yeah. And dissections, and so this is so obviously the study is running.
Yes.
No concerns from a safety side if you go distally with the bobby and so on.
No, we did not have any device-related events up to now. But of course, there are several. There will always be some issues. For example, you have the balloon will not inflate or deflate. But these are rare events, and there were no events that led to a harm to the patient. So I think the overall benefit is quite clear.
Yeah. That's very good. It's really good. So the recruitment seems to go very well. So really happy to see that.
Yes, it goes well. It could be faster, but that was the initial decision that we want to stick to the other inclusion criteria.
Yeah. I think makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I hope we will see the data very soon. And
I hope so too.
I'm really looking forward to the result of all of it. There are so many things we could discuss about the relation of the positioning versus collateral floor, and how does it actually achieve this occlusion effect and help aspiration. And so I think there are a few papers that looked at this already, and I think this would be wonderful data to have all these secondary analysis. And I think that's even more interesting than just to see, okay, it's working. That's what we expect. It needs to be shown. But yeah, cool. Thank you. Tobias, was a pleasure. And yeah,
for me too.
Having you here in Munich. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you.